Good afternoon, everyone. I firmly believe in seizing the moments. I am going to give you a bit of who I am. My name is Bonolo Mashigo. I'm a villager from Dennilton, Dwane. I'm a qualified fashion designer and CEO of a South African fashion brand called Mashigo Designs. I am so honored and so proud to be on this panel today, and it is mainly because there is a Black woman that believed in me, and that is Mama Kwebane. I have dressed her for all of her State of Nation address red carpet walks, and she's also wearing a dress that I've made her before. She believed in me when I would make her skirts that would burst in Parliament, and she would act like she needed the loo. And today we've mastered the art, and I can send her dresses without even fitting. And I am beyond honored to be sitting here today. I am an employer, I'm a dreamer, I'm a believer, I'm a game changer, and I'm hungry, and I am more than anything proud to be a young Black woman that is changing the narrative of what it means to be a villager and someone that is striving for what they believe in. I proudly employ over 20 employees. I'm 32 years old. I've got an office in Silver Lakes, Victoria East, and another in Polokwane. I specialize in traditional wedding dresses, and I am just in my lane doing what I love, living my best life.
Yes, girl. Yes, girl.
Thank you very much for that beautiful introduction to my panel. But I feel as if they didn't go deeper. There's something I heard Mom was saying. She said, we are going to brag today. But I feel that my speakers haven't said much. Can I give you the second partner?
My name is Mary Phadi. I entered the male-dominated industry in 2006 when I bought my first truck working for Eskom to transport coal from different mines to the Eskom power stations. By that time, I think if you were not there, so in case they say you've given me a contract. So I worked in that industry where I was approached by many companies who were telling me that now that you've got an Eskom contract, come, let's partner with you. I could not partner because I was hungry for doing the best that I can do. I started my entrepreneurship from school, so I had a drive of doing more. And with that drive, I managed to, do the operations on my own, and I managed to employ truck drivers. And one of the things that they would from time to time remind me about was that I cannot drive a truck and that I'm a woman. And I'm happy today that the same drivers has taught me how to drive a truck. So now I can be able to drive a truck from that view of the way they saw me. And over the years, I realized that the industry was not fair to the operators because there were so many challenges that were happening. And in 2017, I took a decision that I'm not going to sit down and just look at the black truckers being repossessed of their trucks and the black truckers not making it in the industry. And I realized that it is time for me to stand up. That's when we launched the TASA Association in 2017. And only to find that there was already an association that has been there for many years. And I was then challenged because, as a woman, they were saying that I'm a paid agent for me to destabilize the industry. But the whole thing was that we wanted to challenge the policies and wanted to, deal with the issue of the transformation and the male-dominated industry benefiting the previously advantaged. So I took advantage of the work that I did while I was doing operations because, as a woman, I had to do more. And the more has helped me because I've never had a fatality to date for 17 years on the road. So because as a woman, I have to do more, it gave me an opportunity to excel. And hence today we have the association that is representing the freight. And not only that, I was given an opportunity to be awarded by Charlotte Maclege this year for being the best woman on the move. And Helen Garden also came.
Yes, baby.
And Helen Garden also came to give me the award of the governing woman. Then I knew that I've done it enough in the industry. Thank you very much.
Guys, is the sound fine? Let me know if the sound is fine, please.
My name is Brian Molefe. When I was younger, I studied economics at SOAS, School of Oriental and African Studies, at London University. And subsequent to that, I did a Master of Business Leadership. I also did the Advanced Management Program at Harvard and the Executive Program at Wharton. And I became, at a very young age, a Deputy Director General in the National Treasury at the time of President Mandela. I was responsible for the issuing of debt, bonds, government bonds. We issued, when I was there, the R153 was issued under my tenure. We found the R150 there and we redeemed it when I was there. Those are some of the most famous bonds that I ever issued in South Africa. And I was then sent to the Public Investments Corporation, which was, nobody knew anything about it. The interesting thing about the PIC is that the PIC is a buyer of bonds. And what I had been doing before was selling bonds. In fact, it is the buyer of government bonds. And so I have experience on both sides of the bond market. And so we ran the PIC, grew the assets from 300 billion to 950 billion. And after that, I went to Transnet. I can only say that during my time, it was profitable. And that during the time when I was there, we broke the record of the volume of goods that were carried on rail. The broke the record means that there had not been as many containers and goods carried during the life of Transnet. That record has not been broken. That was 230 billion tons. So by comparison, I think last year they did about 169 billion tons. So, and then I went to ESCOM to switch on the lights. And I did.
Yes.
I promise this time I won't take up too much time. So my name is Bonolo Mashigo, as I mentioned. I'm a fashion graduate, and I started working at Edcon after I graduated, and I made the bold decision to resign in 2017. I only worked for a year, and I realized that I wanted more for myself, and I couldn't stand being employed, and it was just a battle for me. My parents were worried about the career path that I chose because as Batwabatsu, we shy away from the arts as a career. So they didn't understand what it meant to be a designer, but I decided to take a leap of faith anyway. I resigned and I moved back home. I remember I only took home around 20K, and I thought that was a lot of money until I bought one sewing machine and I realized that it was all gone. I found an office space. I started working from home in the garage. I found an office space. I employed a friend of mine, employed in inverted commas. We started working and clients started picking up. COVID hit and I had to shut down and move back home, meaning the business was just now non-existent, but I still fought my way on Instagram and I post my work and I started getting lots of traction. My work was seen on TV now and I had a lot of popular personalities that would promote the brand. And that's how I got where I am today. And little Mama, she always forced, which was on the news, to say, oh, thank you for the question, but first of all, I'm dressed by a young Black designer. And I think more than anything, I'm a firm believer that representation matters. You cannot aspire to be something you've never seen before. I'm simply here because of the Black women that have opened doors and put me on, and as we say in our language, plugged me to be where I am today. So after COVID, I reopened and I fought again, and I more than tripled my staff. And I'm still fighting, and jumping into entrepreneurship is one of the craziest, one of the, if not one of the most difficult decisions I've ever made. But if I had another life, I would still do it again.
Thank you so much for that. I'm just going to be posing a few questions to Mary Phadi. Being in the industry for more than a decade, I mean, you're a woman of many hats, but tell me, how has it been for you to be in the industry as a female? Then, on the other hand, I want to ask, how can you elevate the voice and achievement of Black professionals in order to aspire and empower the next generation?
Look, the industry is a jungle. It's not easy because you are labeled as a woman, and from time to time they would ask me a simple question: are you married? And if I say yes, they say your husband has got problems, serious problems. So that's how they would try to manage to make me to keep quiet. But another thing is that every time when we have to stand up and challenge the policy of the government. There was a time when we realized that when we launched TASA, let me put it this way, when we launched TASA, we were, we met legal professionals that came to assist us. And with their research, they find that the industry has been deregulated since 1988. So every time, as South Africans in the freight industry, we have been, working with the regulation that does not exist after 1994. So from time to time, when we have to, challenge something, you'll find that there's a lot of self-regulatory systems that they've put in place to make sure that they sabotage the industry. So one of the things that we did well as TASA is that we've managed to challenge that. We took to the street and we challenged that policy, and today we are regulated because of TASA. So the industry is now regulated and we need to go to the next step. How are we going to make sure that professionals are empowered? Is that we'll have to keep on being the voice for the industry. We should not stop engaging and challenging those policies. And we should not keep quiet because we are labeled in another name. We should keep on talking and advising people where we can. And I like what Advocate Busiso Covenant says, that we need to have a kit where one of us, when we get into trouble, because as you challenge anything in South Africa, they find a way of sabotaging you in another way.
Yeah.
So we need to have a kit whereby we rescue each other. But the bottom line is that for us to be able to change and bring the celebration of the industry, is that we should do what we are doing today. Celebrate Black excellence. And we should do today. I'm happy because we are sitting there eating, having fun. And we don't do that. You are expected to behave in a certain way. And today we are more homely. We are enjoying ourselves. We are laughing. We are with the people that we love. So for me, this is one of the things that we need to do more often. Not only to the few people that are here, but we need to call more South Africans that are doing it in the industry out there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I wish the DJ was playing some music in between, but it's fine. We'll continue with that. Mr. Molefe, I'm coming to you, sir. Can you share a personal experience where your strength and resilience as a Black professional was tested? And maybe briefly explain to us as in how did you overcome it?
Well, as I was walking in here, I saw Tikima's wife, goosebumps sitting next to her. I saw your parents, I said, Black power.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'm in the right place. And I remembered Imwapele Madimwani. I don't know if you know him.
Yes.
He's the guy who wrote Africa.
My beginning, Africa, my ending.
They came from the west, sailing to the east, with hatred and disease flowing from their blood, and wanted to harden our lives. And when foreigner met foreigner, they pretended to be friendly. When they found us friendly, in Africa, my beginning, Africa, my ending.
Wow. Yes. Yes.
So that was now, if you go to the Public Investments Corporation, when we were busy with the project of transforming it, we decided to put a poem on at the door of each of the boardrooms. And one of the boardrooms has a poem by Imwapele Madimwani, which says, when the time comes for me to part ways with Africa, it should not be because of cowardice or, dare I say, betrayal of my motherland. Now, you're asking me about my personal experience. My personal experience in my career, and it was like a roller coaster.
Bastard, stop it,
But
behave.
it does not have cowardice, nor does it have the betrayal of my motherland.
Yeah.
But in these days, later when history gets written, there will be a chapter dedicated to betrayal. And around this period, when history gets written around this period, it will reflect on how the indigenous people of South Africa were betrayed. And how we were all betrayed. Because the one single thing that we were supposed to get back from as part of our freedom was our land, which we still don't have. And yet, our leaders are going all over the world in fancy aeroplanes and getting money with the bank. And we continue to be confronted with poverty, unemployment, and inequality. And bullshit.
Miss Bonolo Mashigo, what a beautiful lady you are, and follow you a lot on social media. And your garments are exquisite. So I'm just going to be asking you just a simple question, as in, what advice would you give to aspiring Black professionals who may be facing discouragement or obstacles in their career journey?
I would say maybe I should make reference to one of my biggest challenges right now. It's the mass production in China that is replicating our designs. And basically nothing is being done about it. There aren't any South African laws that protect us. So I would spend about 2 months breaking my brain, coming up with a collection. That's my intellectual property. And then put it out onto my online store. Let's say, for example, 1,500 rand. And then we have a small street and find the same design with a watered down fabric with your name at 250 rand. I cannot even begin to explain the damage that has done to our brand. Some clients move away wanting to not associate with us because they feel
that happened to my beadwork.
Exclusive. You see me wearing this beautiful garment and you love it, and you see a replica stud, and they use my face and my dress in the picture as I'm sitting here today. They'll just post it on their website. People order for the office and say, we bought this, and it doesn't look like that. So there are consumers that aren't aware of replicas, but equally we've got those that intentionally buy them and support that. So I would say that is my biggest challenge, but I am facing it head on and making more complicated and complex designs that will hopefully be difficult for them to replicate. And again, I think that lack of funding in small businesses, I think, again, I believe that you should let the funding find you working and not sit and wait for it. And again, we are as young Black entrepreneurs, and my challenge again is I've got I believe in skills transfer. So as a young Black fashion designer, I intentionally pick young Black fashion designers from varsities, and I take them for their work integrated learning programs for 6 weeks, or I mentor and tutor them, and then they go back to varsity just to prepare them for the workplace. Because we as young Black designers don't have the opportunity of going in and seeing. Remember, we're seeing this for the first time. So I think funding towards skill transfer and laws that protect our work and intellectual property is what we're struggling with. But again, you have to strive to be the best. There's not much that can be done. If they do it to Gucci, be Mashigo design schema.
Wow.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna be now opening the floor to our beautiful audience to ask questions if you have one. There will be a mic moving coming to your table. Do I have any questions from the audience as opposed to our panel?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. When I saw Mr. Brian, I then realized that actually the question was big time. Just imagine he's one of the men that's been challenged this time. Thank you. Do you know something? Maybe before asking that question, there's this guy, Anenzero, who he said to me, you know what, Sheriff? The principal says the housing. It won't play Satan, but he didn't use the word club. He used the word undertrained, but you get the message. So I would like to pose the same question because obviously somebody said yesterday there's a imbizo of the wounded in another group. But I think maybe this talks to our conviction. So I would like to turn the question and ask each and every one of you. It's a nice thing that we have at least various age gaps to say what is it that has been driving you even before you became the Brian Molefe, Phadi, and everything else. What has it been, that thing or those things that have been driving you to say that I would leave Africa, but not because whatever comes my way, I will stand for it and rather die for that. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Who said we need to break today? I didn't hear who Brian bragging, or maybe he's going to tell us how did he do it. There's one thing I know about him, that when he was in the PIC, his salary increase was dependent on the board, and the salary of his subordinates was dependent on him. And when the board maybe made a ceiling in his salary, he managed to get his subordinates to earn more than he does.
Oh, man. Thank you. Oh, man. Guys.
Good afternoon, everyone, and to our panelists and facilitator. I think the celebration is somehow minimized. Again, Bob Molefe, we hit hard on you because you have carried a number of caps, and when I look at the panelists, probably you might even be the person that represents the bulk of what we call the employer. Which is government in terms of experience. Public sector is the largest employer, so to speak. But again, if you listen at the speakers, everything again goes back and center around policies which are government driven, which you have been there from a DDG, the youngest DDG or first DDG, as you were saying. The question that we are asking ourselves and representing some of the colleagues and Mama and what we are going through today, which is celebration. We only celebrate because we have managed to stand, irrespective of right.
Yeah.
I'm proud to say, when you left, the fright was this: you have hit this target. You can confidently mention load shedding today because you broke your back. Mama has just said, if it meant you not getting a raise, but fighting for your subordinates, so be it. We have walked that road. We know what it's like. We haven't betrayed our people. But guess what? You said, go to Google, go to any media, look at us, look at the performance for that which we have given with no salary raise. That's what we are celebrating today. And that's what we want to hear, to say, how has things changed over the years? That now we've got a legacy to pass on, even to the people who must continue leading government. How do we go out there and stand tall? Because you are known, you are a public figure in the largest employer. Share with us. Politics has always been there. We grew up, the ranks, the ladders. Today we know what PIC is, how it's talked about. How do we navigate and continue to inspire people who are supposed to follow us and still take those positions and lead and excel as Black people and not betray us? Thank you.
Wow. give it back. You want the mic?
Yeah, I think of you brought emotions in it, and I don't think we get such time where we share a true reflection of what we experience out there. When I started, I had to face the truck drivers as an employer, and I had to face my counterparts. Truck drivers would remind me that I'm as young as their own children at home, because most of the truck drivers are they are matured individuals. They are quite old. They are experienced in the industry. I had to try and manage them. Everything that I was doing it much more. Now I had to have or try to have a relationship with other operators. We were 110 companies when we started at ESCOM. And I was the only woman who was running, and others were partnering with their husbands. And from time to time, you will find that when I stand up and speak and think that I'm still an operator, other operators will just say that but whatever that you are saying doesn't make sense, because I would have made a mistake of thinking that a fifth wheel is a tire. I'm still leaving the industry. And when I go back, I'll feel intimidated. I'll leave the room knowing very well that I don't know what a truck is. And I had to learn all the parts of the truck as to what is the airbag, what is the hub, and all those things. But I had to learn them because somebody else is disgracing me. None of the many people who were operators at the time came to me to say, how can we help you? And I had to learn it on my own because I'm a woman. And those that I had to go through. And the other thing is that I was labeled as a woman that I will not pay a salary. They were saying that so that's how people were saying. And I used to do more, and because I was proving something to somebody else. And I know very well that my trucks used to have only the name Phadi up there, but I had to rebrand them just to prove a point that I can do it. And it took me 5 years to realize that I've allowed the industry to define me. Until I said I'm a woman, I don't need to be defined. And immediately after saying that to myself, we formed a forum where we wanted to speak to ESCOM as operators. And that day I stood up, I said to them, because they appointed me a deputy chairperson, and one guy said, how do you appoint this woman?
And I took a mic and I stood up. I said, everybody, you operators will listen to me today. This is how we do business. And I started to give them instructions. But it took me time for me to stand up and say, that's it. You cannot define me. I'm a woman, I'm a tracker, and I know how to do things. That was it. The uzodlala studying ukudla kusekho. We were told that if we stand up, we'll lose our plate. Indeed, we did. I remember when ESCOM was saying that they are closing the power stations. We were the people that went to Pretoria. We closed Pretoria. Those 100 trucks, we planned them, and I was leading that. And I was leading that, and I was speaking to the media. I was still very young, and it was for the first time we did a strike. And that strike, we mobilized it in such a way that it might become perfect. And it was so perfect. And our mind was saying, let's go and fight on behalf of street vendors. Let's go and fight on behalf of the mines that are in Hendrina, Witbank, because they were closing Hendrina, Camden, MLO, Hoodflay. I think there were 5 of those power stations that were on the list. When the former president announced it in Parliament to say, now we are going to renewables, and these power stations are going to. We took it to the street, literally with the understanding that we are going to send a message to the communities and tell them that, hey, our power stations, I have fun, help us. Guess what? It backfired. We spent quite a lot of money for us to organize that. We set up the control rooms inside the hotel. We organized that trucks are sleeping in Pretoria so that when they wake up, there's a chaos. And number 3, we set it up in such a way that when the media starts saying, what is it that we are fighting for, they should not even get a space of entering Pretoria. We managed to do that very well. And 5 o'clock in the morning, my warrant of arrest was out. And I was called by one person who said, the mayor here is a DA. Your warrant of arrest is out. Mrs. Phadi, you have to come and renegotiate the whole thing. But immediately when we were going back home, we received messages that you are an opportunist. You want ESCOM to keep on hiring you. You don't want to let go of ESCOM contracts. Now we had to take a decision of saying, are we going to sit and allow the community of South Africa to backlash the way they were backlashing when we were thinking that we were doing the right thing? No. Whether ESCOM keeps us as contractors, whether they fire us, let it be. And we took a decision that we should not look for work where they sabotage us, we look for work somewhere else. So we had to change the strategy of looking for a plate. And we've managed to do that very well. And guess what? Today, indeed, ESCOM fired us. But we are still here and we are still making it in the industry and we are still making it more than the way it was portrayed and what we trying to do.
Shine.
Thank you.
Shine.
On the question of load shedding, South Africa has installed capacity of about 46, close to 50 megawatts of electricity. Installed capacity. It means all our machines, if they were running at 100%, they would produce 50,000 megawatts, 56,000 megawatts of electricity. Demand on a day like this, or on a day like this, would be about 26,000 megawatts. At West, maybe 32 or 30,000 megawatts. So we have more installed capacity than we have demand. Number
Whoa.
one.
What?
The primary or the main commodity or fuel that you need to produce electricity is coal. And the bulk of our power stations are coal-powered stations. So maybe you'll think that maybe we've got a shortage of coal. No. Coal in South Africa, if we continue digging it at the rate that we are digging it now, we can dig for 500 years and it won't get finished.
What?
So we have 500 years of coal in the ground. So you've got the machines, you've got the coal.
What?
The people that must put the coal into the power station
What?
and generate electricity. So somewhere there where the people get involved,
Yes.
that is our problem of electricity. Right? The IPPs are a diversion, an unfortunate diversion, because I don't know where I stay. We are load shedding at from 8 o'clock last night to 10 o'clock. I don't know if you had load shedding last night.
Yes, we did. Same.
At that time of the day, there's no sun. If you think about it, there's no sun. So you could not rely on the sun last night to help you to get out of load shedding. But coal, yes. Energy. Coal, yes. So the IPPs are a technology that is not well developed. It's still developing. And then it is being thrust on us. That we are being told to abandon coal and go for technologies that have not been proven. The time will come when we will be able to use the power of the sun at midnight. But that is not now. At the moment we can't. Wind. If the system operator comes to you as a CEO of ESCOM and says to you, today at 7 o'clock we are going to have load shedding in the evening at 1900. Yeah? And we don't have enough electricity. We've got a shortage. We will have a shortage at 1900. The only thing that we can rely on is wind. So tell me, how are you going to rely on wind? You have to call the bishop and pray. That at 1900 hours, there will be wind. If there's no wind, you can't have a country running its economy on the basis of solar that is available sometimes and wind that is available sometimes. I'm not against them. I'm just saying that for now, we should take 4 or 5 billion rand and give it to the universities to research how we can make these things to work properly. This is not the time to deploy them. This is not the time to deploy. We're deploying, we're becoming guinea pigs. We're turning ourselves into guinea pigs. Those people give us $8 billion to become guinea pigs, and we take it. So it's our time.
So why are we having no children? Oh,
I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah. You know, just to take those questions, when you have a revolution and the people rise against the tyrant and the people defeat the tyrant, everybody rejoices. FNB, President Mandela comes out of prison, goes to the Union buildings, and he says, never, never, and never again. And the people say, yay! The day after that never again speech. As revolutionaries, we have to go and do things that are very unpleasant.
Yeah.
We have to. After the French Revolution, they were chopping people's heads with the guillotine. We did not come to that.
Yeah.
But there were very, very, very difficult decisions that were required of us. And Sidney Duck, in A Tale of Two Cities, the Charles Dickens, says, if the revolutionaries cannot do what the revolutionaries are supposed to do after a revolution, then the whole business of the revolution was a nasty business.
Yep.
And nobody
Yep.
the revolution.
There was
The
no
whole
revolution.
thing of Comrade Carl going to prison for so long, for Mahala Fair, just because we are failing to do the things that we are required to do after a revolution. Yeah. The United Nations has a declaration called, and my seniors are here, they will correct me. The United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. The rights of indigenous people, not the rights of black people. Yeah. Indigenous. And rights of indigenous people is a declaration of the United Nations as well as the labor, the ILO. One of the rights that indigenous people, wherever they are in the world, the Chinese in China, the Amerindians in America, the indigenous people of Australia, they have a right to land. To land. The indigenous people, not blacks, the indigenous people have a right to land. South Africa signed that declaration. And, you know, with United Nations declarations, when you sign it as a country, you must then pass domestic law to make sure that the rights in the international law declaration to become domestic law. Yeah? So we signed the declaration. We have never passed one law that talks about indigenous people.
Yeah.
We only talk about blacks, but black is Chinese, everybody. But the indigenous people, especially the right of the indigenous people to land. To land. Land is important. It's a right that is recognized by the United Nations. Why do we have a constitution that requires to be amended for us to meet an international law obligation? It's an international law obligation. It's in the UN bill. So I hope I've answered the question somehow.
Thank you so much for that. I hope the questions were free or were briefly answered. What I would like to suggest is that to our audience, as you stand up, remember, we also want to know who are you and what are you doing. You also, part of us, we want you to brag as well. So can you please introduce yourself prior posing your question? Then on that note, I do have a hand. I'm going to be asking our panelists to have